Yo, what's up, people? Why Europe doesn't build skyscrapers? Wait, that's true. Wait, I've never actually thought about that.
Wow. Wait, Big Ben is the tallest building in the UK.
Where's Big Ben?
This Ben, where is the clock, the big clock thing?
Is that it? Okay, best build, the biggest building. Huh.
The longest
Okay.
in London, I think. And that's not even really long
Compared to the normal apartment in New York. Okay,
Wow.
we're gonna see the reason why now? Let's go.
I mean, definitely not in Netherlands though, because we know
About
what's funny.
They are battle with water.
Yep.
Why aren't there many skyscrapers in Europe? Despite being one of the most developed, densely populated, and economically prosperous
Damn, this
continents,
is Germany, right?
Europe has surprisingly few skyscrapers, particularly when compared to Asia and North America.
Yeah.
Of the 218 skyscrapers constructed on the continent to date, 66% of them are located in just 5 cities: London, Paris, Frankfurt, Moscow,
Ooh.
and Istanbul.
Oh, and Istanbul.
Frankfurt,
Okay.
Moscow, and Istanbul. So, why have other major European cities not embraced the skyscraper? How do they thrive without the significant inner urban space and floor areas that these clever structures provide? And is everything about to change in our increasingly urbanized world? When skyscrapers first rose to prominence in the 19th century, first in Chicago and later in New York, many European cities were already firmly established, with grand historic buildings and public spaces that left little room for large new structures. Most of Europe's cities around that time were also more evenly zoned, and were not facing the high demand for floor space in key districts that typically drives high-rise development.
That was the sub.
Additionally, as the power and influence of North America began to grow, a cultural rivalry emerged between Americans who saw Europe's class system as outdated and Europeans who saw some American ideals as eroding traditions and the European way of life. As a result, each continent became wary of adopting the other's concepts. While North America aims to become the model for a new age, Europe sought to preserve its heritage.
It was actually rich
While
in
this
culture.
explains why skyscraper construction didn't initially catch on in Europe, it doesn't explain what has held the continent back since.
After the whole war. Damn.
In
Wait,
the
is
wake
this
of
real?
the Second World
All of this, are they just drawings or they are real photos?
War, many thought
Yeah,
European
Germany.
cities would modernize and replicate the skyscrapers that were rising across North America.
The fact that Germany could rebuild.
However, in
Crazy,
Western
man.
Europe, where many cities lost landmark and historic structures, an overwhelming desire to restore what had been destroyed took hold. In addition, the lower population of Europe at that time meant that the demand for floor area that principally drives skyscraper construction wasn't there. As a result, modest structures replaced buildings that could not be saved or restored.
I have a question though. Throughout the walk of history, the war, pre-war, post-war, everything, was Great Britain, like UK, ever invaded or attacked? Like, how did they manage that? If they, I don't know.
They are mostly the ones, most
that
of
go
the
for
time.
the attack. How?
And it's mostly none of their business.
I don't know how they manage that, but that's crazy.
Meanwhile, in Eastern
Out
Europe,
of context.
the expanding Soviet Union's rebuild effort consisted largely of mid-rise repetitive structures that sought to rehouse much of the population.
Oh, this is Ukraine.
It was during this time that Europe saw its
Wow,
first
this is Russia.
skyscrapers begin to rise.
Oh,
crazy.
Not in response to growth and prosperity, but in an effort by the Soviets to indicate their power and influence.
Bruxelization.
While Brussels,
The restaurant
by the
world.
start of the 21st century, attitudes around tall buildings were softening across the
Italy.
continent. As architectural trends
bank is
moved
that?
away from box-like structures towards
Those
more
valuable.
unique designs, and as the world became increasingly globalized. Since the early 2000s,
Where's Rotterdam?
increasingly globalized.
Is that not Netherlands?
Netherlands, yeah.
So there are like tall buildings like this in Netherlands. Crazy.
Since the early 2000s, major financial centres like London, Paris,
Wait, this is in London.
Moscow, Istanbul, and Frankfurt have seen several skyscrapers
Even the
rise,
one they
as
showed for
demand for
Tokyo is
commercial space in their
actually kind of
centres has
impressive.
increased. By contrast, smaller European cities that have been experiencing more modest growth have turned
Stockholm,
their focus
Sweden.
to the environment
What?
and improving
What?
living
What? What kind of building is this?
more modest growth have turned their focus to the
Oh,
environment.
how?
Wait, what? Is this how it is or it has been abandoned?
Abandoned. It's only in Italy you see stuff like
for
this.
citizens. In recent years, urban areas in
Vienna,
Scandinavia
okay.
and Central Europe have consistently ranked among the highest in the world for sustainability, happiness, and well-being, while
They all
maintaining
Wait, are
they
they
all-
just building or what? We all just crane saying around the buildings.
their national economies.
And it's no Ukraine.
However, skyscraper construction in the
Okay.
cities of today
So we can
is no longer driven purely by economic growth or the need for commercial office space. With 60% of the global human population set to be living in urban areas by 2030,
Bruv.
residential skyscrapers are now rising in prominence, particularly across Asia and North America. As many traditional rural-based
Is this
industries become
Netherlands?
automated, millions
Why?
are migrating
What's the water? You guys so stupid. Wait, why do you think it's there?
I know it's just a guess now. They said it's an European countries.
Why did you guess it? You're so stupid, I swear.
As many traditional rural-based industries become automated, millions are migrating into cities and major urban
This is
areas,
Africa?
driving significant demand for residential space.
Melbourne.
that is
Melbourne is all Europe now.
Well,
Is
well,
it? Melbourne is
met
Australia.
with
or is it?
high-rise structures. Europe is not immune to this phenomenon,
Okay,
particularly
this
in
is
such a
Frankfurt, bro.
heavily globalized world,
This is where I'm from.
and with the
Come on, this
continent's
building is
desire to
actually
keep
fucking
up
good.
with the progress
And the way they construct, like, who is the
economic growth of
architect?
China and the US. As such,
I'm wondering what I
Europe
did
could
to you.
witness a skyscraper boom in the decades ahead.
So the next 10 years.
However, with entire
Good
urban
best.
centres now being declared historically significant, and with the desire to retain as much culture and architecture as possible rightly holding strong up to the present day, the unique challenge facing future skyscraper construction in
Barcelona.
Europe
What's the stadium?
is all to do with the past. If you enjoyed this video,
Okay. We see why Europe doesn't build skyscrapers though. But I feel like in the next few years we're gonna see a lot of skyscrapers in Europe. Yeah, guys, tell us more geographical videos you think you should react to. And yes, we'll see you next time, guys.